Hey guys, Spamwaits here. Welcome to the Chinatown vlog that I've had for a little while. I was out with parents, so hence why you're getting a voiceover for this one. One little cool tidbit. Right here on Columbus, you actually can see from right behind us, Little Italy, and then, well, towards us, Chinatown. Like the one cool thing that splits basically both of these neighborhoods apart is through Columbus Street, and I guess as well as Transamerica Tower, which has like a lot of history into it, I'd say. Very problematic history in terms of building that and Divide. But I'm going to be focusing here on Chinatown, the most densest neighborhood in San Francisco, and I think one of the most dense neighborhood west of Manhattan is what they point out here on the Wikipedia article. Basically, 15,000 residents live here in a span of 20 blocks. Not 20 square blocks, not 20 square miles, 20 square blocks. It's tiny. Like, this place is tiny. This neighborhood is tiny, but it's very compact, very rich with history, culture, and all that stuff. And it's definitely a place to visit if you haven't visited Chinatown already. It's really one of the most prominent things. And, like, one cool thing, it's one of the oldest Chinatowns in North America, which I didn't know. Thank you, Wikipedia. So yeah, this place definitely has history, and actually has history dated as far back as the creation of California and the West Coast. So, I mean, there was a lot of people, a lot of Chinese, and a lot of Asians were emigrating to the United States from the West Side compared to the East Side with the Europeans and all that stuff. Um, just like there's a whole lot of history, and most of them ended up in San Francisco because this was one of the first cities that were well established compared to many of the other port cities, such as like LA, Seattle, and all that stuff. So this place definitely has a lot of history, a lot of culture. And one cool thing is that, like, technically, I thought it would be Columbus Street that is the natural border between Little Italy and Chinatown. However, if you look at those poles, you'll see the green, white, and red, signifying the Italian flag. So something tells me that this is the transition part between Little Italy, and Chinatown. But right now, I'm just gonna provide you like a nice short montage and try to provide as much history as I can about Chinatown because I finally went here. Again, it's like one of the most densest neighborhoods in San Francisco, with the flourish of Chinese locals as well as tourists. Because surprisingly, even during COVID, a lot of tourists ends up here. I mean, that only makes sense. You're not too far from Embarcadero. You're not too far from like the ferry building and all that stuff. Not too far from Powell, and not too far from Pier 39. Surprisingly, and also Little Italy, Coit Tower, and all that stuff. Like, this is Chinatown is part of the heart of San Francisco. Hence why you'll just see a bunch of people coming along the way. But also, it's also a good place to go shop at the markets, buy some food at the restaurants or food stalls, and just one heck of a place to like see and hear things, I'd say, compared to like the rest of San Francisco. Like, say, the more prominent stuff like Pier 39, Powell, and all that stuff. This place is like one of the most busiest. Definitely one of the most craziest places. And for those who wants to know what street I'm walking on, I'm walking on Stockton Street, which is apparently less known in terms of the touristy, the tourists. But I feel like Stockton Street has its own merit in terms of like finding a lot of stuff. Again, the food, the goods, and the products and all that stuff. I definitely would visit this street compared to, which one was it? Clay, basically one street east of Stockton Street. Let me see if I'm right. I don't think I'm right. Grant. So one street east of Stockton Street is Grant, which is where most of like the other shops and like that, but it's really the more prominent street because there's a lot of decorations and whatnot. However, I feel like if you want to start going around in Chinatown, start from Stockton Street and head downwards to Grant, where you'll find a lot more stuff. Because you do find a lot of things. Apparently, there's also a really big line for one of these places that has really, really good dim sum. I haven't been there yet because I know of another place over here that has pretty decent dim sum and not so much of a line. So, but yeah, you can find a lot of dim sum places here, a lot of goods, products, and all that stuff, and well, a lot of people. I'd say probably, I don't know if any of these are like generations or anything like that, but it is very busy over here. Um, Again, busy with people, busy with history. Considering it has started since the 1850s, it's has quite a lot of charm, quite a lot of history. Um, Especially within the Asian culture within the city, because surprisingly, right next door where it used to be, now it's over controlled by the financial district. If I remember correctly, is Little Manila. I remember learning this from our Philippine American history class in San Francisco State, where basically almost every Asian that you know of will congregate here within or around Chinatown. And back up till the 70s, they would just be here, because every other affluent people, or like the Caucasians, will be living in the suburbs, such as where I live right now in Outer Mission, or um, even towards west, towards like the Richmond district and Portola and all that stuff. Most of those were affluent or Caucasian. So most of the people would just stay here. Hence why, oh my god, right. The architecture is pretty cool here. This place definitely has a lot of character compared to Nob Hill, even though I think they're roughly built the same time. Probably destroyed during the 1906, but definitely this place has charm in terms of like the architecture as well. But yeah, like most of the Asian culture will be around this place, but eventually it started spreading out during I think the 50s and 60s when the whole integration movement happened, the segregation whole that whole debacle within not San Francisco, within the United States. They started eventually moving out, and hence why we have those satellite Chinatowns. That's why I created that video. Because this place did get very crowded, and it's still crowded to this day. But a lot of Chinese people still travel here to Chinatown, but some of them also do travel to the satellite Chinatowns in Richmond and Portola and Sunset districts. But yeah, no, this is a really cool place. Down this street, it actually has a whole bunch of Taiwanese flags, which is really cool. And just like just walking down these streetways, alleyways, really cool. Has a whole lot of history. And if you haven't been here yet, I would definitely suggest going over here. It's it's a sight to behold. Definitely, this will basically throw you in a definitely different place. Some people pointed out it looks like Hong Kong, even though we have Taiwanese flags out here. So, but it has a different vibe compared to many of the other neighborhoods in San Francisco. It has that nice cultural shock in a way. I feel like I get that more here than, say, in the Chinatown in New York or Flushing. Like New York City and Manhattan or in Flushing. This place definitely has its old charm. Definitely feels like I'm in Asia compared to the United States. Well, aside from the vehicles, the people, and all that stuff. So, but definitely would suggest going over here to Chinatown if you haven't already. You can ride the 1 in Embarcadero. If you're in Montgomery, you can ride the 8, the 30, or the 45. If you want to hit Stockton Street, hit the 30 or the 45. If you're coming from Market. If you're coming from Pier 39, all that stuff, you can ride the 8, and it'll drop you down over here as well at Stockton Street. There's a couple bus rides. If not, you can walk it as well. It's not really far from downtown or anything like that. But in case, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of haphazard talk through of Chinatown. Hopefully I'll see you guys in another neighborhood in San Francisco or a holiday special next week. And yeah, if you haven't hit subscribe, hit that subscribe button and all that stuff. And I'll see you guys next week. I hope you guys have a great day or night, wherever the heck you are. And yeah, definitely see you guys next time. This is Spam Waits. See ya.